Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Navigating Growth, where we showcase companies that are doing new and unique things. My name is Sal Imami from Better Call Sal, and co-hosting with me is Kevin Hooper from Hanging with Mr. Hooper. In this episode, I'm going to take you back to a simpler time where all compute, network, and storage was done on-premise, and the thought of moving these resources to external places was completely unheard of. In fact, I do remember a time where there was even pushback to moving storage outside of the server to a SAN. Well, that's not the case anymore, as cloud computing has become the norm, and for good reason. The flexibility and elasticity in the cloud is unparalleled. What hasn't changed is that you still have to design, support, and maintain these resources. The skill sets for supporting and maintaining these resources is different than the ones required for on-premise resources. On top of that, how do you know what cloud provider is right for the type of workload you have? Are you using the resources in the cloud as efficiently as possible? Well, don't fret. Our guest this week has a solution for you. To tell us more, I'd like to introduce Sean Barker, the CEO of CloudEQ. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Sal.
Let's start off by telling us about CloudEQ.
CloudEQ, we've been around about 4 years. Taking our business and technology expertise combined with an EQ approach, an emotional quotient, we deliver the outcomes our clients are really looking for in the cloud space. We're professional services, everything from managed services to application development, projects, and bringing on the best in the space from a software and third-party perspective.
Sean, you and I have known each other for a few years now. We've seen each other go through some iterations of our career. Can you think back to the moment that was the inception of this concept of meshing cloud with EQ that caused you to say, I'm going to take this idea and create a company around it?
You kind of go, where's that moment? You have to go back in time to figure out where exactly it was. But at least for me, I've always had this EQ approach, and most of the people that I've worked with have had that same kind of style, understanding really what people are after and trying to deliver that. My friends and I were consulting in a couple of different areas, and we put something together that said, this is what we do, and this is what we should do. We went out and formed CloudEQ in the US, Europe, Asia, all at the same time, found the people with the same kind of culture and approach, and then took that to market in the enterprise space. I spent 25 years in the enterprise space. It was easier to work with the people that you know, like, and trust, and bring that EQ to technology, which I think is missing in a number of places today.
Go back to that point in sort of 2019. Walk us through that growth journey. Tell us how that differentiator that you brought to the market informed the decisions that you have made.
It was interesting to start and grow a company in the middle of a pandemic. Understanding or taking that approach with the company itself, one of the things we wanted to do across all three geographies is institute a culture in the company. And we have your standard, get bigger, grow more, make more money kind of pillars. And then we have this third pillar that we call culture. And it's comprised of three areas: sustainability, we want to be carbon neutral; diversity, I, for one, and the leadership team believe that the more diversity you have, you can take the experiences of other people as part of that team, and you can then take that to market and relate better to your clients. And the third is community work. We go out and give people time to donate to charities or nonprofits that are important to them. The culture pillar of what we're doing was from day one. This is what we want to do. Now, I'll say the culture pillar was from day one. All of the things in it may have not been from day one, right? We just have continued to add to it as we went through it. If we find things that we like and we want to grow, we created a program called Give Where You Live, which does that. We work in all different countries and across the globe. And one of the things that's important to us is that people give time back to what's important, but what's important to them, what's going to make a difference in the community that you live in around the world. So creating this culture, which is kind of wrapped around, caring and sharing that with our clients. As we built this out, we worked with our clients, and we're all living through the same pandemic that they're living through. And lots of companies went work from home. Lots of people, quietly quit or actually quit. So it was actually a really good time for us as a company. We were able to continually grow consistently because of the way we provided the service, and our expertise technologically allowed us to get more and more work as we went forward.
I've worked with all sorts of partners, whether they're alliance partners, go-to-market partners such as VARs, resellers, MSPs, etc. And as you know, partners come in all shapes and sizes. What types of partnerships have you engaged with, and what has worked with those partners and what hasn't?
We're obviously partnered with all of the big cloud providers, and then we're partnered with some third-party software providers who are the best breed in that space. We spent a lot of time choosing partners and ensuring that we're not only choosing best in class, but the partners that align to our culture as well. Some of our partners have the same philosophies that we do, or similar philosophies that we do, and ones that we have come across that we thought did, who didn't, they're no longer partners. But we were very clear about what, when, why, where, and how we engaged with our partners. When we first started out, we said we don't want to sell software. All we want to do is professional services, and we had people pressuring us to sell software. We just weren't ready to sell software. Now we sell software, and we provide the professional services, but selling software is not our core business. So we'll do it as a benefit to the client, but not necessarily as our core business. Plenty of ours who can go out and do that, and it's their core business, right? They're going to be better at it than we. We want to focus on what we do really well.
Of everything that you've learned over the last 4 years, and you could go back in time and do it differently or better and advise yourself, what would that advice be that you'd give to yourself if you could go back 4 years in time?
Get the message about emotional quotient out earlier and more deeply explained. Share the third pillar of culture with our clients and our opportunities earlier. Certainly get to revenue faster, right? That's always an answer, right? Because growth is good, but also refine the processes sooner, including creating processes, refining processes, people, training, timing, and what does that look like earlier on in the process, and creating them to be constantly reviewed like we do today.
Well, let me just sort of summarize what I'm hearing here. One, like a lot of startup founders, you saw a gap in the experience that you had both on the customer side, which is when I first met you, and then you moved over to the provider side. You saw that gap, and that gap was this notion of shared values, of focusing on caring about people's experience, caring about the people, caring about the environment, caring about the business, and that leading to financial success. The second part that I'm taking away from this, to keep true to that value, and that use that as your key differentiator throughout everything you do. And then the last part is you can do all of that and still apply traditional good business management. You talked about process, you talked about getting to revenue faster, you talked about the customer experience, while keeping true to that fundamental value that then creates a true differentiator between you and the people that you're competing against. And I think that is borne out in the longevity of the customers that you have. Sean, thanks for sharing your story with us today. Salim Ami from Better Call Sal, thank you as always for being my partner on this journey. Everybody, thanks for your time. We'll see you next time on another episode of Navigating Growth.